Welcome everyone to the Atomic Cinema Experiment. I am Peter, and joining me as always is Tara.
Greetings, citizens.
This is a science fiction movie podcast. We get together, we've watched the movie, and we talk about it. It's really quite that simple. And this is not the episode that we promised you on the last episode you saw, because we promised you Alien vs. Predator. That is still coming, but we have swapped the episodes around since this is now ready to go. It's a brand new movie. We both went to see Moonfall, the new Roland Emmerich film, and we're going to talk about it. We'll start spoiler-free, of course, as we always do. We'll give you a warning before we get into spoilers, and we'll get into it. Tara insisted that we do this when it came out in theaters. That wasn't interested in waiting for streaming or VOD or anything like that. She was like, nope, Peter, we're doing Moonfall.
Did you not see the trailers?
I did.
They looked awesome.
I'm getting a vibe. I'm just going to say this right now. I'm getting a vibe. It's reminded me of when I talked to Tim about a Leprechaun movie. I'm getting that kind of vibe. I
don't understand. No, it's not the same thing. First of all, those Leprechaun movies are gold. And no coincidence. But I genuinely was excited to see this film.
Yeah, okay. I mean, this movie's terrible. Let's get it out of the way right now. It is trash.
What?
And we will be talking about why it's trash over the course of this review.
Are you sure you saw the right film?
Roland Emmerich is still doing the same tropes and the same types of characters that he's been putting in his very similarly structured films since 1996.
Yeah, I agree.
It is shocking how little he has moved on with the world.
Wow. And the worlds are very different in this one.
In 20 plus years. Yeah, I mean, the plot of Moonfall, if you don't know it, the moon starts falling out of orbit, and of course that wreaks havoc on Earth, and if it keeps falling, it will eventually just, be an extinction level event, pretty much. So obviously for reasons we have to get into it and try and fix it. You got Patrick Wilson as our lead astronaut, who's a disgraced astronaut after the prologue. We have our weird conspiracy theorist character who, oh boy, I'm going to have so much to say on this prick. And then we have
he was like the heart of the movie.
He was, oh my god, he was everything wrong with this movie. And then Halle Berry, who...
I'm so confused.
Halle Berry, who cannot act. I am convinced at this point that Halle Berry is incapable of delivering a line that is convincing.
Yeah, she has some pretty funny moments, actually.
As a human being.
With her acting.
There's a couple of weird editing moments that I think, make her look even worse, but for whatever reason they cut out a line or something and it's really disjointed. You can tell they cut something out. But some of her deliveries is just like, and the contrivances, and obviously, I mean, there's no even point in mentioning the science. Obviously, the science is just all over the shop, but
I thought the science was pretty good. I mean, the science fiction part was great, but like the way like gravity's affected and all the tides seem to line up.
Seem to line up
with what I know about science.
And then, I mean, I'll give it credit. It does properly go down the rabbit hole into batshit insane territory in the third act, which I at least appreciate in some level.
Oh, yeah.
I just wish... Do you know what the problem is? Is that I think that if this was just less of a big budget blockbuster with the same general ideas, it might have more charm. But because it's like these crazy ideas mixed with just like this... all these like safe Hollywood like versions of characters and the way they handle the story, it takes all the charm out of just the stupidity of it, and I can't just enjoy the stupidity for the stupidity's sake.
It must be so hard to be you. To not be able to enjoy a movie like this.
This movie's terrible.
Oh my god, it's so much fun.
I was rolling my eyes so much. It just something like, I couldn't believe how tropey some of these characters were the second they were introduced.
Oh, they are super tropey, yeah.
Like, it is shocking. And I won't spoil anything, but it's in the trailer, so I don't think this is a spoiler. But the second they introduce, our nerdy Englishman who's the conspiracy theorist, right? What was his name? Just so I've got something to call him.
I think it's John Bradley, right? The actor?
That's the actor, yeah.
He's from, I think most people just know him from Game of Thrones.
Sure. Houseman's his name, though. So, like, within a minute of introducing this asshole who's, like,
asshole.
He's not. He doesn't work at NASA.
He's so likable.
He sneaks into places. He's stealing data from satellites with a little bit of
all that stuff's public domain.
Right. Then why is he sneaking into a professor's office to get an email from someone?
Well, that stuff is easy to get. Like he's just making some shortcuts to get it sooner.
Okay. So he's been presented as kind of crazy, but he's also kind of a genius who's working some of this stuff out. Like, within seconds, I'm like, somehow, some way, he's going to end up on a mission going into space.
Well, it's in the trailer.
That's why I'm saying that. I don't think it's a spoiler because it's in the trailer, but that is, like, I don't care how they justify this, it's stupid. Under no circumstance should this guy be...
You don't see, like... yourself in the role of like dreaming of being in space, and then here's this guy who's made it. He's just like a normal guy like us.
It's such a stupid... We'll get into the spoilers, but it's such a stupid moment. Like, the moment where it's like decided is just like, no, this is dumb movie logic. This is like really dumb movie logic. None of this
great.
makes sense.
I think this movie, if you want to ask me like if I liked it or not, I guess I'll just say it on my own.
I thought it was pretty clear from the tone how you felt.
I really liked the film. Okay, let me just say, I saw it last night by myself because I knew we were going to talk about it.
Uh-huh.
And then I called my mom last night and said, hey, I want to see you tomorrow. I'm going to come by like before you go to work. And she goes, oh, actually, I have the day off. I was hoping we could see a movie together. I'm like, cool. I just saw Moonfall. She's like, oh, dang it. That's the one I wanted to see. And I said, you know what? I'll watch it again. I had a blast. And you know what? My mom had a blast. We both had a blast watching this film. Because this film is fun.
So what you're saying
is... super tropey. All the kids are like terrible actors.
Oh yeah.
Halle Berry, every time she talks to her son, it's like, there's no way that's your kid.
It's all terrible.
And she's like crying while talking to him, and the kid's just delivering the flattest lines.
What I got from this is that it's genetic.
It's
you whipping
so
out
funny.
the mum card. My mum also likes like, oh, okay. Well, like, clearly that's where the dumb genes come from then, right? That's what.
She was good in Monsters Ball.
I never saw Monsters Ball, but Halle Berry has been pretty bad in most things I've seen her in. And
well, you could see a lot of Halle Berry in Monsters Ball.
Yeah,
blushing a little. She's whatever. She's like an angel. Okay.
I'm not going to watch a movie for that reason, though, is the point I'm making. I'm not like,
okay.
I'm not some 11-year-old going, oh, there's boobs in a movie, all right? It's not.
Halle Berry boobs, though? Maybe. It turns me into an 11-year-old boy.
It's also so awkward. So these characters are tropey, they're annoying, they're trying their best to make Patrick, and I like Patrick Wilson well enough in other things, like he's not bad, he's perfectly fine, but they're trying really hard to make him be this like disgruntled hotshot astronaut who like is cool because he rides a bike. And actually, was it just me, or is every single time he got on that motorbike like a really bad green screen shot? Like the front of his where his apartment was, outside of the museum building they go into, like every single shot looked really badly green screen to me.
What I'll say is there's a scene where John Bradley pulls up to the Griffith Observatory. And he just pulls out in front. Yeah, he just pulls out and parks his car like right in front of it and walks in. And I'm like, well, you can't park there at the Griffith Observatory. You have to park like all the way down the mountain and then join the giant line, or queue, as you would say, to get in. And then Patrick Wilson does the exact same thing. Like, there's no way there's two parking spots like that. That's the most unbelievable thing in the movie.
That's the most unbelievable thing in the movie.
I'm sticking with it.
Oh, jeez. Like Roland Emmerich's known for having silly people like run away from a thing scenes, right? He's had people run away from ice, he's had people run away from tidal waves, he's had people run away from, all sorts of things. This movie is like, well, we've done all the things before. How about we do like they run away from gravity distortions,
which is amazing.
Which ends up being basically a tidal wave with some extra like funnel looking parts.
Driving just becomes Mario Kart where you could just fly.
It's
I mean, this movie is tons. This is definitely his best one since The Day After Tomorrow.
Listen to what you're saying. Listen to the sentence you just said.
What? The movies are fun, okay? What do you want from me? I'm a red, white, and blue-blooded American.
I mean, Independence
Born
Day,
in Canada.
I liked when I was younger. And when we did that for the show, I was like, you know what? This doesn't hold up. Like, I'm over this now.
Yeah.
It's even with the great cast that it has, it's not that good.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Randy Quaid is pretty tough to take in modern day.
So you saying a sentence, this is his best work since Day After Tomorrow. I'm just like, all right.
Which we should have done before this movie.
Maybe that's technically true, but the bar's low.
This might be my favorite of his films. Like I honestly, like I had a blast watching it. I think this movie is so fun, and it doesn't like shy away from what it is. Like it knows what it is.
Sure.
It's a Roland Emmerich film, so you know what you're getting when you walk in, and like nobody's like winking at the camera or like nothing's tongue in cheek. It's all very serious and like and also just extraordinarily crazy.
That's the thing though. I wish it was more schlocky, because then at least I could just
I don't want it to be self-aware.
No, not self-aware. Schlocky's not self-aware. I'm saying more schlocky. I'm saying it takes itself a bit too seriously at times and tries to, like, we actually give a shit about any of this drama. Like, just...
the family drama stuff. Although, I will say, like, at first, I kind of find it eye-rolly, but, like, those parts make me laugh so much that I do genuinely end up enjoying it. Like, the scene with Halle Berry and her kid is so funny.
And also, this movie has such a 90s trope as well. It's very Roland Emmerich, but there was definitely other things at the time, and I was cringing every time it did it. Is the person gets the insane idea for how to solve a problem from some weird random thing that happens. For example, he gets an idea at the start of the movie because his cat pisses on a newspaper that has an article about something.
His cat? What's the cat's name?
Oh my god! Don't even make me say it. Don't make me say it.
Fuzz Aldrin.
Oh.
It's great. That's hilarious. The whole theater laughed. All 6 of us.
You had 6? Oh man, there was only 4 people in mine. Couldn't me. Yeah,
it's pretty light. Even when I saw it on a Saturday night, it was pretty light.
Yeah.
I think there was like 2 rows that was maybe full.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say it. Cosmos was better. All right.
Whoa.
Cosmos made me laugh more than this did.
Cosmos is hilarious. God, I wish I should suggest that to Riff Tracks.
I'll
write an email.
They may get something out of that, yeah. I feel like Riff Tracks are destined for this one as well, to be honest. Like this seems like it's got...
Yeah, I wonder if they've done other... I mean, I know they've done Independence Day, but I wonder if they've done any other, like, big disaster films from Emmerich.
Yeah, I'm saving the plot and stuff for the spoilers. I'm just trying to think of that. All I will say is the third act, it's very comparable to a few different movies that I think if I told you what I'd compare it to, it would spoil kind of the type of ending it has. But let's just say
the moon isn't off its orbit for no reason.
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, I think right at the start of the movie, like the conspiracy houseman, he's saying things like he believes the moon's a superstructure and it's actually been made by someone else. I think implying those things are ideas that are in the film are fine, but what I'm talking about is more just like there's like 2 or 3 specific movies that it really reminded me of when it went where it went in the third act. So
there's a joke line in this that's taken directly from The Lost World, and that part I was like, come on, movie, you think I would get that?
What was the joke? Or is it something you can't say? Sarah
Harding. How many Sarahs do you think are on this island?
Oh, yeah. You're right. They did that exact joke. You're right.
I was like, come on, man. That's not cool.
Yeah, and I'm not even that fond of Lost World, but yeah, don't steal from it. I was like, I don't remember anyone yelling, "Don't go in the grass."
Don't go in the long grass. I think this movie's really fun, and I highly recommend people see it in theaters, and probably see it soon because it's not making any money, so it won't last very long.
Yeah. Look, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but like, I'm just very done with a lot of the things this movie's doing. I'm very done with a lot of these tropes. I'm done with the way these characters think and how they make their decisions, and I'm like, the actual like weird ultra sci-fi stuff it gets to by the end. It's like, okay, there's something kind of interesting, I guess, about this. I just wish it was told in a way that was, not just this big exposition dump.
There's so many scenes that are like white knuckle, like biting my nails.
What? No, because you don't give a shit about any of these characters. That is no. I'm disagreeing with that.
I'm telling you, I'll say it without spoilers, but the launch scene, both times I watched it, was like the best part of the film. I was just holding my breath.
That scene is just like, we've already done all the disaster movies. Like, how can we
we're gonna put everything in one?
Yeah, how can we excessively make this like a tense launch sequence and have like it under threat? Like,
oh, it works. It's so good.
I would debate it works. I don't think I agree with that, but
it totally works.
Just okay.
Let's get into the spoilers.
All right, spoilers from this point on for Moonfall, if you care, which you probably shouldn't, to be honest. But
you should care. Go see it.
All right. I mean, there's a prologue scene with it's like 10 years ago. Patrick Wilson, Halle Berry, and some red shirt are in space.
Roland Emmerich's making a Gravity movie.
It's like the start of Gravity. That's kind of what they're going for. Obviously not as good. But they're debating the lyrics of Africa by Toto. And I mean, this is relatable because I often have like memorized the wrong lyrics.
You're
so
bad at lyrics.
Yeah. So it's
hilarious, really.
Well, I knew it was wrong in this scene. I sympathized with Patrick Wilson over being convinced that the lyrics were something else. But then a mysterious cloud thing comes and attacks them and like knocks the ship away from the satellite and kills the one guy, and Halle Berry gets knocked out, and Patrick Wilson's this hotshot astronaut pilot. He's able to land a shuttle with no engines and all sorts of crazy stuff.
But then there's a trial.
There's
or
a trial,
hearing anyway.
Yeah, where basically they don't believe that he saw this cloud thing. They think he's a nut job and it's all his fault because he made an operator error. So he's stripped of his
man died up there.
licenses. He's we skipped 10 years later. He's separated from his wife.
I love the captions at like the bottom of the news screen for every time like he's on, because his son's like watching him like in the news and stuff. It's just disgraced astronaut, and it's all these like really terrible headlines. Anyway, go ahead. They were really fun to read.
0G killer. Things like that. Yes.
They really are. They're so funny.
So we skip ahead and we're kind of introduced to where everyone is now. Halle Berry's like the second in command at NASA or something like that. She's there. Joe was so weird. So they set up the asshole husband.
I don't like this at all. He's like the heart of the movie. He's the best actor there, and he's like so fun to watch, and he's just such a likable guy. Why do you hate him?
I did not think he was amusing at all. He was annoying.
What? Not at all. He was just so nice and sweet, and like the relationship with his mom and his cat.
I didn't believe a single thing about this character. He was such a cliched, like, writer's room.
He's a good actor.
Maybe he is, but I didn't get it in this movie.
What?
No one gets a chance.
This guy knows exactly what movie he's in, and he's doing a great job.
No one gets to shine in this movie because obviously it's not the movie for good acting. But I will say this: Halle Berry still comes off looking much, much worse than everyone else out of the cast.
Yeah, she's not good.
Maybe not including the kids, because some of the kids are quite bad. But
the kids are really bad.
But yeah. So we introduced that he's figured this thing out. The moon's falling out of orbit, and he's trying to phone NASA. And he gets like the merchandise girl at the front desk.
She's like, "This is a gift shop. I can connect you to customer service."
But so what was bugging me is, oh my god, are they really going to tell me that this guy has noticed that the Earth's at orbit before NASA has? And what's so funny is that it immediately cuts to NASA and Halle Berry walks in and like, oh, by the way, something's happening. The Earth's kind of shifted orbit. And I'm like, oh, okay. So they did figure out it seems like the same time, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So what's supposedly making Houseman special isn't really that special because the only thing that's important is that he tells the public.
Well, he knows why.
Yeah, but he tells the public. Well, he doesn't know why.
Not that they went to figured it out.
Don't say he knows why. He's wildly speculating why, and he just happens to be completely right. That's not knowing why.
Yeah.
Not knowing why at all.
He and his friend Wiggles or something. Ziggy.
He can piss off out of the sun as well. So he eventually goes to see Patrick Wilson, who's behind on his rent. That's a movie trope. He's sneaking out of his window to get away from his landlord, and he's late because he's been up drinking, and he's here to do a talk at the observatory, and Houseman's came to see him to show him.
Disgraced astronaut gives talk at the observatory to children.
To show him numbers. He's there to show him the numbers. And of course he doesn't believe him, which makes sense. But then obviously later that night when it leaks into the world and NASA has to admit it and confirm that this is going on, and people are panic buying stuff in the streets. There's apparently a cult. I thought this cult was going to show up later because they show this like bald guy with a big Rasputin beard.
Yeah.
And I was like, he's going to show up later. And instead
Fire will rain from the sky.
Yeah, instead we get like three hillbillies who are like the bad guys. I was like, where's the cult? Where's the cult leader? Come on, give me the cult dude.
Well, they're in Colorado. So yeah, they should be the same as the Eden's Gate cult from Far Cry 5. That's my guess.
Oh, very good, very good. So this is where they run into each other. But once Patrick Wilson sees all this in the news and goes, wait, that guy may actually have been onto something. So he goes back to get the papers from the dumpster and goes to see him because he's got a talk. He's got a podcast with free bagels. He does like a seminar. Yeah. With a bunch of conspiracy nuts and old people who are just there to keep him company, I think. And they chat about what he thinks is going on, and Patrick Wilson still thinks he's crazy, but like we're in this now. But he's been
right once.
It's when they're at this hotel that the tidal wave comes in, because obviously the moon's coming down, so the waters and stuff starting to shift. Like the things are going on. So we get a big action sequence where they're like running up the stairs from the water. It's, of course, Houseman can't swim.
Yep.
Useless prick.
But Patrick Wilson saves him.
Yes, because he's the hero and all that. Yes.
He's a disgraced astronaut hero.
Well, he's only a politically disgraced. We know he's not really disgraced. We know he's telling the truth.
You're right.
Yes. What else is going on during all this? We're introduced to his son is in jail because he was joyriding. He's just like turned 18 or whatever, and
his new dad bought him a sports car.
Yes, Michael Pena, who's the stepdad now.
Tom?
I don't know, Michael Pena.
Sure. Michael Pena.
Or Pena, sorry. Not good with the accents. But yes, Michael Pena. He's there. So we're establishing all these characters, and it's like, okay, you're giving me characters so that when whatever group are going into space to deal with the threat, we're going to have like people try to survive on Earth that we can follow and like root for, and they're the ones going to be running away from things and being in danger. You can see the structure unfolding as you're watching it. You kind of know
totally
where it's all going.
Everybody's got family drama.
Yeah.
Even our nerdy guy's got his mother who's in a home. She's got like memory issues.
Yeah.
Dementia of some type.
Yeah. And it sounds like she survives. Like she gets airlifted out and goes somewhere.
Yeah. With
the cat. She's got Fuzz Aldrin with her.
Oh, so Fuzz is okay too.
Yes. So as far as the main plot stuff goes, though, during all this, because a lot of this all sort of blends together because they're cutting around all this stuff happening, is they send up a shuttle, an international shuttle with astronauts on it, to go and look at the moon because there's a hole in the moon. Like something's like burrowed a hole into the center of the moon. and they go up and have a look, and this nanobot cloud, because we find out later on it's technology, it's like a nanobot sort of thing, comes out and kills them, and it's like, oh shit, well, that didn't go so well. And they also point out that when it came out of the moon started to actually revert back to its correct orbit.
Mm-hmm.
But then immediately started descending again once the nanobots went in. So it's like, okay, so we have like an alien presence that's doing this. It's not just...
Right,
the moon's, I don't know, went off its axis. Oh shit, it's coming down.
Right. So seemingly, because there's a cause, now we know how to undo the cause. There's a rule established here.
Whoa,
rules.
Whoa, there's no rule. We don't know how to undo it. Like, at this point, it's this like supernatural entity, basically.
We have to get rid of this entity somehow, at least draw it out of the moon.
Sure. Okay, and the most basic principle, yes. There's that enemy we have to get rid of. That is what we've established.
You love rules.
That's not really a rule. There is rules later on, though, that are very specific.
Right.
But... yeah, there's a lot of running around. Like, they basically, Halle Berry sends a chopper to go get Patrick Wilson, because once she sees... Oh, I hated this part. So the head of NASA resigns, right? He has a couple of awkward scenes with her that are awkwardly edited, but he leaves, and he gives her clearance to all the secrets. And she goes to this super secret warehouse that's NASA controlled. And for some reason...
Hawkeye himself.
What?
Hawkeye.
Okay.
From MASH. From the movie MASH. Donald Sutherland.
Donald Sutherland, thank you. Yes. Donald Sutherland comes rolling out in his wheelchair, and despite the fact that she doesn't even pry or prod him, like he says, "You're not meant to be here," and she says one thing, and he just starts monologuing about the nature of the universe.
I have clearance. Here's some other guy's badge.
And he just starts telling her everything, and about all the secrets they've got, and how they were building...
Patrick Wilson was right all along.
They were building an EMP weapon to take out some entity that might show up one day, but blah, blah, blah. Because there's footage, like his helmet cam actually captured the thing.
Yeah.
So NASA knew all along he was telling the truth. They just didn't want to...
scare the people.
Yeah, scare the shit out of people. And that's why they were developing this EMP, right? Because they knew this thing was up there, and maybe one day they'd have to do it. But anyway, after all this, she sends a helicopter to get Patrick Wilson, which brings them to their secret base. And it's like, well, we're going to have to like do something about this, right? We have to talk about this, and they're not in good terms. You know, Houseman's there doing comic relief and like interacting with NASA employees, and like, you know. Can I say... when we get to the launch, can I say one of the most weird things about this is that they actually aren't going to be ready in time, and the only reason, because one of the engines, the cooling fails, but the only reason why they can still launch is because they realize that because the Earth's coming close to the moon, it's altering the gravity, meaning it'll be easier to launch, and therefore they don't need all three engines, and that's why they launch. They launch with no crew. They launch with just the 3 people in the shuttle and 2 people.
You can just couple of buttons, boop, 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 launch.
Call me crazy, but I feel like you need the room full of people to like.
I mean, they're there to monitor. They're not there to do anything.
I don't know. That's all felt a bit.
Everything's controlled by the shuttlecraft.
Yes, of course.
And the rocket and all that.
Halle Berry gets the idea to go and get the old shuttle out of the museum from her son, who's got a toy shuttle.
What does it say on it?
Oh, it says F the moon.
I love that. What a nice touch.
I guess this is your one F-bomb and your PG-13. I didn't... But you see it multiple times, so I was like, well, what the...
no one actually says it.
I know, but I'm like... Well, that's what I'm thinking, though. I'm like, what's the rules here? Like, if it's just written down, can you show it as much as you want, or can you show it maybe 3 times?
Looks like Roland Emmerich answered that question for you.
So that's where they get the shuttle from. Right. I feel like I've glossed over it, because there was definitely more stuff that was making me yell in my head. There was definitely more stuff that was making me roll my eyes with the character setups.
Oh yeah, Halle Berry's ex-husband is like a really high up general in the military, Air Force or something.
Yeah, I hated this like side of the plot as well.
Well, I mean, it's necessary to have him in there because later we get them turning 2 keys at the same time, which elevates this movie by like 2 points.
I thought of you, but no, but did it not bother you though that he doesn't go through with it? He pulls out.
It just added to the tension.
Oh my.
It's okay. My ex-wife is up there. Oh, this movie's great. You're crazy.
The first like 40 minutes is just all these character things and all these setups and all these tropes, but when they get to like just before the launch and they've already evacuated everyone because they didn't think they were going to be able to, and it's like, okay, it's still technically possible. And Halle Berry wasn't meant to be on the mission, but she's like, you know what? Like, I'm here. I've got experience. I can do this. I can be your co-pilot.
I'm going with you.
And then Patrick Wilson turns and looks at Houseman and goes, so you figured out these new calculations about, you know, where the moon's going and the force, the gravitational force and all the rest of it. And he's like, yeah, you know, we're going to need someone who can do calculations up there. And he looks back around at Halle Berry and Halle's like, yeah, you're right. And they both look at him. And he does the whole nervous thing. He's like, no, I get anxiety, and I have irritable bowel cells.
Crippling IBS.
Yes, like I'm going to be shitting all over the place if you take me up there. That's not a good idea. And I'm sitting here going, this is like such movie bullshit. This moment where the two of them just decide, yeah, we should take him as well. That'd be a laugh, wouldn't it? Let's just take him.
They're smiling because they know this is his dream, that he's always wanted to do it. He disclosed to Patrick Wilson that he wanted to be an astronaut when he was a kid. He told his mom. His mom encouraged him, whereas Patrick Wilson told his mom, and his mom laughed at him. And so he's like, oh, I'm so sorry you didn't have that like support system, even though you became an astronaut.
I have never been less convinced by an exchange of dialogue in my life on as many layers as I was unconvinced with this one, where Halle Berry says to Houseman, when he says, but like, you know, like I don't have approval, and she goes, well, I'm the acting head of NASA and I just approved you, congratulations. I have never been less convinced with a moment in my life via her performance.
The world's gonna end,
via
man.
The stupidity of taking him with them.
Okay, the one before where she's trying to convince Patrick Wilson to do this job, and he's like, I got my own problems here. She's like, the moon is going to crash into the earth.
Your problems won't exist anymore.
That was so funny.
We're all going to be dead.
That was so funny. What a great line. And I love that they're both like not laughing at that. How did you not have fun in this movie? Who are you?
The lunch scene's horrible, right? It's this overabundance.
What happened to you, man?
It's so
this is the best scene in the movie.
It's they literally they're being hit with a gravitational tidal wave, and to the point where it's like they have to make this launch in this second, or it's going to be too late. Where they actually get like covered in water, and then
they go through the water.
We see the rocket emerging from the tidal wave, and like his son's watching, all like, you know, my dad might actually be cool. That's so heroic.
I fist pumped at this scene. I mean, I didn't care about the sun stuff, but this launch scene was so good and so tense. I love that they were like, forget the countdown, just go. Just start up the rocket. And when this movie's so American.
Do you know what this moment is a director having visual irritable bowel syndrome. This is him just exploding from every orifice all over the screen.
I mean, the plot definitely is, yeah.
Hell, I think I was ready to take a dump sitting there in the audience watching this scene.
Oh, that's not very nice.
Of all the movies...
I know we've looked up this before, but Roland Emmerich is German. God, he's so American, though. His movies, he just knows what we want. Not Godzilla. That movie's garbage.
Maybe better than this, if I'm honest.
Godzilla. I know you like that movie.
I don't like it, but...
You're some weirdo who just likes that movie.
That movie's funnier than this is.
Oh no. With like the fish vomit?
That's a lot of fish.
Oh God, that's awful.
He goes into a chemist and buys a pregnancy test when they've already evacuated all the civilians. Like, why is she working at the chemist?
I was at I'm on the biography page for Roland Emmerich still.
Uh-huh.
And the first quote under personal quotes is, I make movies for the masses in America. He doesn't say that last part, but the man knows what he is.
Yes. So they launch into space.
Great scene.
Cutting edge stuff. It's at this point where I was getting really annoyed at all the subplots with the kids and because they get like hijacked by like people on the road, and then they get to like where his stepdad lives with his mum and that, and then they come out, and then it's like, hey shit, like the radio said we have to evacuate because the like all the oxygen's going to leave for a while when the moon gets too close, and like shit, we have to like think of a solution. So they go to the fire station, which leads to that because they go for the oxygen like tanks and masks.
Let's
and
go to tanks.
Okay, I was like, yeah, that's smart
or the
enough.
SCBA.
But then the same filthy scumbags who robbed them before show up,
We need that oxygen.
and we get like this ridiculous car chase, right?
Yes.
Because they hold him at gunpoint, but because the son's got a gun from Patrick Wilson that he's able to like hold them off with.
I love that Patrick Wilson just had a gun at NASA the whole time. I think they would have checked for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he's at the NASA facility when he's like, here you go, son.
I don't know if it's like his.
this.
I don't know if it's his personal gun though. I get the feeling that he like asked for it off of someone who was like there.
It's probably in a deleted scene. I'm sure it all makes sense.
I mean, at this point, they're really throwing all the rules out the window. Let's be honest. Halle Berry's just approving any scumbag to go up into space.
I think they're in Lompoc at this moment too. They had like an Air Force base, which should have even more security, I would imagine.
Yeah. Haven't they already evacuated everyone at this point though? Isn't it just like a skeleton crew?
Yeah.
So maybe that's why.
I think it's just the two scientists inside the building.
So yeah, Patrick Wilson probably just went into
whoever straps in the John Bradley's character, because he gets strapped in. They're like, "This is gonna be tight because it's not made for someone your size."
Yes. Yeah, I thought I was going to cut back to the two guys in the control room. Like, maybe not obviously in that control room because they have to evacuate, but I thought we were going to cut to them in a laptop like still helping them, and it never did. They just left the movie at that point.
No, they died. Or we assume they died because they get in the helicopter and the helicopter gets hit by the wave.
Oh, was that the helicopter? Because there was multiple helicopters. I wasn't sure if that was theirs.
They got into the last one and they're like doing a moon jump to get it.
Yeah,
I thought one of them was going to like hit the blades.
I am so glad you reminded me of this because they knew this looked stupid because they showed as little of it as possible. Because like,
well, the gravity's affecting them.
But they look so silly. The way they were like leaping forward in this like weird slow jump.
I didn't think it was silly. I thought it was funny.
It was funny because it was stupid.
Well, I mean, I thought it was like, oh yeah, the gravity's being affected. This is really cool. And I thought one of them was going to get their head cut off from the blades. Because you don't do that around a helicopter. You don't jump.
Well, obviously.
You say obviously, but you know, there have been accidents.
Some people have misjudged how high they jump. Like, I could do a little jump. A little jump won't hurt anyone.
I think there's an actor who died that way. Like getting off a helicopter and like standing up before he came off of it.
Yeah. Really should warn everyone before they get on the helicopter, and then like 10 times before they get off. Like, when you're getting off, don't stand up. Stay crouched.
Stand up the rotating blades. Right. Exactly.
But yes. So yeah, so they have this ridiculous car chase where the ground's like falling apart as they're like driving against each other. The villains are in two cars, so we get like, you know, multiple cars like crashing and sliding and all sorts of things.
Big rigs being thrown onto them like there's a tornado.
Yes. Ultimately, their thing though is to get into the forest. They're going for this like a tunnel in the railroad track, so they can like for shielding because it's you know under however much of a mountain, so it seems relatively safe. But one of the oxygen masks craps out, so Michael Pena like dies heroically, giving his daughter his oxygen tank.
Yeah, it's an okay moment.
Yeah, and then
I didn't really feel a lot for Michael Pena or his family.
Nah, and then teenage son of Patrick Wilson goes back to help him, which is an improvement because he's been kind of shitting on him the whole movie, so it's kind of like his arc is that, oh, I'm going to go save him, my stepdad, my beautiful stepdad, I need to go save him. And then, we've not even mentioned this character because she's so inconsequential up until this point, but Halle Berry's got like a nanny who looks after her son.
Yeah, who's from China.
Yeah, and she like goes to help the teenage son, Patrick Wilson's son, because he gets like a tree on top of him, And then if she's trying to lift it off, but then like before, the moon affects the gravity, so it's like, oh no, it's getting really light now because the gravity's changing, so we can throw it up. And they end up running and jumping because the bridge gets taken out, but because the gravity's low, they just jump it anyway, and they slowly jump across to.
They make it just in the nick of time. Yes, I love that the moon like sneaks up on them. Like you don't know that the moon's gonna be there. Like, oh my god, it's the moon, even though it's huge.
Do you know what it is? It's that moment in the original Godzilla where Godzilla like pops up from behind the hill. It's that it's that moment. The moon comes up from behind like a mountain, as if it's like ominous, and intimidating, like coming after them.
I love even the opening shot. We get the moon rising over Earth, because our astronauts are in space, and it's this ominous tone, like the moon is being shot like it's Michael Myers or something.
So it's like, because by this point in the movie, like the moon is close enough that like parts of it are breaking off. But obviously, what we discover it is a built superstructure, so only the outer shell.
It's a Dyson sphere.
Yeah, only the outer shell is actual, moon rock as we know it. All right, so at the end of the movie, when it's left still there, it's actually just a big metal ball now.
I do think that it's hilarious that like the family in this Colorado mountain has been like staring at like mountains around them just get destroyed, like totally obliterated by these moon rock meteors, and they're like, yeah, whatever, let's just keep moving. Like there's no reaction.
They also get down like it's nothing, like because at the end of the movie when they reunite with everyone, it's like, wait, how did they get down from that tunnel with the bridge where the bridge got taken out? Like, did they walk through the tunnel and like somehow get down the other side? I guess that's what happened, but like,
I guess
I mean, they just I don't know, it struck me as like a really overlooked detail. But all right, back to the characters in space then.
Well, tunnel has 2 entries, so
yeah. But you go
it's
back
on the opposite end where the gravity's not affecting it as much.
So the characters,
it's not like throwing things towards it. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, the characters in space are working against the clock because the military are going to just nuke the moon at a certain point, which doesn't feel like it's going to help at this point. It's too close. Like you're just going to like destroy half the Earth at the same time.
All the Earth from the fallout.
And to be fair, this is one of these movies where you see like, I think it's like New York at the end of the movie, and it's like this city is like done. It's devastated.
Oh yeah, everything on the on coastlines are done.
Yeah.
Everything else got rained on by meteors also.
Yeah, like I would love to know, like at least half the population of Earth have to be dead after this. We have to be dead. Like,
oh yeah, totally.
3.5 billion or something like that by this point. It's like, what's going on? So they're in space, and they've got this EMP device, and the idea is that the enemy, the alien entity, is attracted to technology. But it's only if the technology is also got biological life with it, right? So it's very specific in that it can sense technology, but it won't care about coming after you if there's no biological entity inside it. And this is important. This is one of these things where I feel like this was a sort of like backtrack thing in the script where, they're sitting down, they're writing the script, they're making it all work. And they realise they need like a reason for later on when they're explaining how this thing escapes the war that happens, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But it's like, oh, we'll say that there has to be life inside it, and then that sort of they went back through the script and sort of made it work with everything, like, which is fine. Like, sometimes you get
it works.
Yeah, so sometimes you get the idea for something for the end of your story, and then you go back and seed it in throughout. But so that's okay. I'm not saying that as a critique. I'm just saying I got that feeling that at some point said we need a reason why this and this doesn't kill them. I was like, oh, this is why, because so I did think it was weird though, because they do this thing where they set the EMP up in its own little device, and they've got a remote, and the entity comes out of the hole and it comes for them, and Patrick Wilson realizes that it's sensing the remote, that's still technology, and therefore like he has to smash it. But what's weird is that in a later scene, like, it's still working, and I'm like, wait, so you didn't, like, because he smashes Houseman's phone as well because he's taking too long to turn it off. So he's like, no, just give me it. Just smashes it in frustration. And I'm sorry, am I glossing over all of Houseman's like, oh my god, the magic of space? There's no gravity. I love this. I'm like in heaven right now.
Yeah, I think I thought it was a little bit odd that they weren't right away like, you can't have your phone, man. Like, at least turn it off before we get close to this thing, because I think at that point they already knew. It was the technology that was drawing it out.
Like, I mean, Halle Berry gives him a kind of a look because he's taking a photo at one point, and I'm like, whatever. But yes, them not realizing that the phone might be an issue, given what this thing's attracted to, was a bit of a weird choice.
Yeah. Come on, guys. It's supposed to be smart.
But they start getting smashed up. They decide they have to sort of go into the hole and chase it, basically, because like that's the only way they're going to survive all this rock coming off the moon and everything else that's going on. I'm a bit fuzzy on the details exactly, but they end up riding into the hole and going down.
Yeah. All right.
To the point where after like a little bit, like Houseman says, "Can you get close to the wall of the shaft so I can see it?" And sure enough, it's not rock. It's like metal, and it's like, I was right. This is a structure. Someone built this thing. And yeah, they get to the middle of this thing, and there's like, you know, places where there's alien ships stored. There's like a what, I don't even know what you call it. The you know, like a ring where people can live on. Like in space.
It's the Elysium ring.
Yeah, the Elysium ring. Yeah, there's one of those in there.
And wouldn't you know it, there's produce there.
Yeah. So
you is right.
This is all going on, and they eventually sort of, you know, run out of oxygen and stuff, and but when the door opens, it's like they're being controlled at this point. When the door opens to the ship, they can breathe. And when Halle Berry and Houseman wake up, Patrick Wilson's just gone, right? He's missing. And a door opens, big, you know, spaceship-looking door opens, and they walk through. So at this point, we're like, at this point, it's like, okay, this movie is like going head first into science fiction. It already kind of was, obviously, for everything it's doing, but this is like, no, we're going full sci-fi with this. So Patrick Wilson
to the wall
is basically, this is where it started reminding me of like other movies. Obviously, there's a lot of contact in this ending. I will also say this was very specifically Mission to Mars. Remember? With with Gary Sinise? Yeah, like this.
I remember that film.
So
Brian De Palma, one of my favorites. Not Mission to Mars, though.
Yeah, one of your favorite directors, not one of your favorite films. Yes, very important distinction. And he's talking to the AI, the operating system, not the evil AI, but this is the operating system of the moon. The moon's got an operating system.
That's right.
And she explains in a
Siri compatible
giant exposition dump the history of this thing. So basically, civilization elsewhere in space, and it was humans effectively. We come from these people. We are descendants of these other this being of humans from elsewhere in space. They advanced so much. They had achieved peace, utopia, no wars, nothing. They were all living in space, but then one day, the AI tech they had and everything. So it just casually throws into this is also an AI goes bad story. Because
Judgment Day.
Yeah, but all of the nanobots and all of their Alexa devices basically all like combine and form into a big monster and starts killing everyone. So they have this war with the AI, and it's implied this goes on for a while. But ultimately, they realize that the only way they're going to survive and get out of this is to send out these super structures to go and find planets where they could possibly inhabit humans and similar beings, and only one made it out. But the reason why the evil AI couldn't find it is because it had to be empty. So therefore, only like this operating system could be on board. With I presume like embryos and stuff that it could send down and, you know.
Well, it had
get life going.
Yeah, Prometheus. I don't know how to say it.
Yes.
It pulls a Prometheus.
Yes.
And yes, begins DNA on Earth from this thing.
Yes.
And presumably brings potatoes to the Incas or whatever.
So
Fozzie said.
And we see a lot of this play out in a sort of montage of all this fantastical stuff happening, and the idea that this AI has been searching across the universe to try and find the one, you know, moon that got away that's kind of started life, because it wants to wipe out all of humanity, because all organic life is a threat to its existence. So it's not just that it wants to destroy the moon, it's actually using the moon to destroy the Earth. It wants to kill all of humanity as well.
Kill two birds with one stone, as Halle Berry puts it.
It's a very big stone, but yes, it does.
I love those moments where, like, because of Futurama, and they do that Star Trek episode where somebody will explain, like, Star Trek always has this thing where somebody will explain something and it'll be very techy, and then someone else comes in and, like, makes it all concise. And then Bender goes, like, putting too much air into a balloon. And every time there's a scene where something, like like killing two birds with one stone. I can't help but think of Futurama. Anyway.
No, I get it.
Back to you.
Yeah, I mean that's basically it. It's like this is like the I shouldn't say AI because that's the villain. Or is the AI the operating system
control?
Basically like gives Patrick Wilson like some alien tech or connects to him so he can now open the doors and stuff, and he's like, okay, they've repaired their ship, they've given us an upgrade for the EMP, it's helping us kill this thing because it wants to survive. The moon's actually on our side. The moon is helping us fight this thing. So that's the twist, is that the moon's presented as this villain, like you say, it's shot like Michael Myers at the start of the movie, but no, it's twist, it's not, the moon's the good guy.
It's just a Dyson sphere. It's got a little protostar or white star or something, white dwarf
it's powered by a white dwarf, in the center. So
I don't think they'd be able to look at, there must be something in there protecting them.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Roland Emmerich and his writers did not give a shit or even think of it.
Oh, they probably were like, it's not important.
Yeah.
And you're right.
So, yes. Patrick Wilson at this point, so look, I need to stay behind. The only way this is going to work is if someone organic, meaning one of them, is inside the trap with the EMP. So he's going to go on the suicide mission and save the world. And all I'm thinking at this point is like, wait, dude, you've got a son, a family, so does Halle Berry. Chloe, the one for the job here, is Houseman.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to lose another astronaut.
Yes. So Houseman takes
He's got too much trauma.
Houseman takes it upon himself to sneak into the little pod, shuts the door, and says, "No, you didn't kill that astronaut.
Give Patrick Wilson some closure.
Yeah, you didn't kill that astronaut before. You're not killing me now. I'm doing this of my free will, and you gave me my dream, so I'm going to save the world." And
brilliant writing.
Shut up. And so sure enough, he does. And at the end of the movie actually, I'm just skipping to the end scene. It's actually him waking up in the operating system. The operating system like copied his brain into the computer, and is like, "Hey, you're here now for us to like start the next phase of what this is." And he's like,
"Sequel."
It's not happening. And he's like, "What is it?" And that's where it cuts to black, and it's like, wait, is the potential sequel that's never going to happen, is that supposed to be about how they're going to like start like going out elsewhere to populate life, or they're going to like, unlock secret technology from the moon or something? Like, I don't know.
I mean, obviously the military is going to go check out this Dyson sphere.
Yeah, I feel like they'll
maybe turn it into a Death Star.
I feel like the moon will like let them in if it wants to, though. I feel like the moon is able to just shut off and be like, nope, not coming in.
Well, that AI thing took 10 years to drill into it, and that had tons of technology to do it. So
yeah, here's a question: before the moon came to Earth, which is a really weird sentence, what would the tides be like? Would there still be a tide, or would it just be still?
No, I don't believe there would be.
No, it would just be calm, just like a lake, just a big lake. Okay.
I don't think tides are necessary for life, which is why astronomers are still like more curious if there's water on other planets or on other moons or anything like that versus a tide. But you can see how maybe that would stimulate some things.
Yeah. I wonder, I suppose because
it's good for growing vegetables and stuff.
The Earth's spinning, so I suppose you could argue that the water could still be moving a little bit because of the spin of the Earth, but I don't know.
No, I don't think that's how inertia works, though.
Yeah, I'm clearly no expert. I'm just posing the question because that sets up that there was a time before the moon was here. So I'm just thinking, okay, so like.
Yeah.
I have to imagine when it arrived, obviously there was no life yet on Earth. Well. How did the dinosaurs factor into this, actually?
Well, actually, I thought about that, too, during the movie when I watched it. I was like, oh, and we planted DNA for life. Like, okay, but why'd you make dinosaurs?
Is it possible that dinosaurs were 65 million years ago, and then they arrived, like, 30 million years ago? And
no, they say that they arrived when the Earth was being formed.
Oh, they said that?
It has been that, yeah.
Okay.
The moon has been around that long. There are theories that the moon is another celestial body that just got caught. in the orbit, but it appears to have been made around the same time anyway.
Oh, in real life you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm just pondering the dinosaur question again. So I guess maybe, I don't know, like
that was accidental.
Something went wrong. Yeah, they mixed the DNA up a bit, and it's like,
well, that's why they had more spheres, but only one of them got out.
Maybe they accidentally mixed an elephant with like a lizard, and like, oh shit, we've created dinosaurs. And it took millions of years to fix
it. They're birds, right? They have the hollow bones and they walk like birds.
I just picked something big at random. I wasn't trying to make any sort of scientific observation. And elephants, as far as I remember, not including some whales who are bigger, I think are the biggest land animal.
Mammal, yeah. Or land mammal, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because whales are mammals.
They sure are.
Bizarrely.
If you look at their bones, they have like hands. their flippers and stuff make like a hand bone. It's bizarre.
So they're going like this when they're
yeah, they just have like one really long thumb, but like it's like, okay, I see it. Like I see how we evolved from the same place.
Okay. So yeah, it kind of just glosses over like how they, like there's a bit of getting back to Earth where it's actually Patrick Wilson who gets knocked out, so Halle Berry has to make up for the opening where she's the one who pilots the ship back down.
Great writing.
Shut up. But they end up landing near New York, and like they get reunited with their families, which is very Independence Day. You know the scene from Independence Day when like they're running towards like Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum getting off the ship and they hug. It's that moment.
Don't you like the moment where Halle Berry's son asks her where she is, and she says, "I'm by the Empire State Building." Isn't that in New York? But it's not, because it's been moved from the moon.
Oh, so they were in New York then. Where are they?
Colorado. I think they're in like Aspen area.
No, I mean I don't think Patrick Wilson and Halle Berry were in Colorado. That's where the families in that were.
Well, they were somewhere. It looked like the Rockies or something.
Yeah, but they just look like the Rockies because the moon had messed stuff up so much that lots of places look like that now.
I suppose they could be in like the Yukon or something.
Well, because we're next to a city. Because I'm sure they looked over at a city, and we see the city's like all decimated, and there's like skyscrapers and stuff.
I saw the movie twice, but I think the movie just ends without them looking over at the city. Maybe the kids do.
You definitely see a city at some point to work, because I remember looking at it going, this city's just done. Like it is like everything from like a certain level down is like flooded. Everything above that has been hit by rocks. Like,
yeah.
Like you'll be lucky.
I'm not sure exactly.
2% people survived this who were still in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what? I actually thought I was going to spend more time going through nitpicking moments in this movie, and I think I would have if I had seen it today. But luckily for you, and perhaps the people listening to the show, I saw it and I had to go see it on Friday. So I've forgotten some little moments that I can't help with.
You know which thing I thought was odd that they included in the film? When Michael Pena is at home and the kids are watching the news, it is nothing but like disaster and very dire news. He turns the TV off, but he does it by doing I don't want to say it. He says, "Okay, Google, turn off living room TV." And I thought, that's... See? TV. Do you hear it?
I hear it, yes.
So, like, if people are watching it at home and they have a Google device, they're going to be watching the movie and the TV's going to turn off.
I hadn't considered that. Mainly because I have no voice-activated stuff turned on, because I'm good.
What a bizarre thing to include in your movie. Like, of all the things that Google could have done.
Someone thought that was funny. I'll say that. So someone's like, I hope this... It's like someone saying Alexa and something, and someone's Alexa being set off.
Yeah, there's a South Park episode with that.
Yeah. Because I've heard that like on podcasts and stuff. Like, they'll be talking about someone named Alexa, and like someone's phone or like device will keep saying something back. It's like, shut up! I'm not talking to you.
Or Siri.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. this is a Hollywood disaster movie from Roland Emmerich, who, well, I didn't expect anything that wasn't a big dumb blockbuster. It's actually impressive almost how he's still using the same types of tropes and characters that he was using in the 90s. Like, nothing has changed.
Still got the cool guy, who also, here's another complaint from me, which I know, weird.
Yes.
I hate people who are in a public place and need to have their phone on speakerphone, let alone like use FaceTime without any headphones so that everybody can hear their conversation. And he's like fighting with his wife and like her new husband and stuff. And like, what? This guy's an asshole. Like, if I were anywhere near that, I'd be like, I hate this guy. Like, I understand it builds tension and it's good for the movie, but like, if you step outside what's happening in the film and like look at it in a real life scenario, you'd be like, this guy's an asshole and I hate him.
A lot of things in this film don't work if you think about it in a real life scenario.
Well, I mean,
like,
you gotta have some sort of dramatic disbelief in order for storytelling to be effective. And I think it is here, very much. Should we move on to ratings?
I don't know how much you believe that and how much you're just doing a bit. Like, there's definitely like a character thing happening here.
Look, I am not an actress. I'm not like... There are things in this film that are ridiculous, but I love ridiculous movies. I love bad movies, and I love...
So it's a bad movie?
Movies that know... A movie that knows what it is.
But you agree it's a bad movie?
I agree that there are parts in this film that are bad, hilariously bad, to where it's enjoyable, but I don't think this is a bad movie. I think this is a really fun movie.
Okay. It's not the worst thing I've seen, right? I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't quite like, it needed to be more amateur for me to be funny. Like, it's too slick because it's too Hollywood. So it comes off in a different vibe. But yeah, I was rolling my eyes a lot. I'm shocked by how much, like, how 90s this felt in every way.
I know. Even the computer that the nerdy guy has is like a 90s computer. It's like a big box. And the TV that Patrick Wilson uses is like a dial turn one. He's got like tube TVs in his kitchen.
Yeah, it's still the 90s. This is still like the leftover stuff from the 90s that is just in there. The fact that people have smartphones in this movie is almost like, whoa, what is this? The future? Like, what are you doing, Roland? Your time period is mid 90s, and that's where you feel comfortable, clearly. But yeah,
that's where we want him.
All right, go on then, rate it. Put us out of our misery.
I really enjoyed myself both times when I watched this film. My mother loved the film. I think because she's...
Can't wait to hear more future reviews about what Tara's mum thinks of the movies we're watching.
My mom's got good taste in films. Anyway, except for Green Book. She really liked Green Book. Whatever. Yeah, I think this movie knows what it is, and makes sure that you have a hell of a ride watching it. Some of the acting is really, really bad, to the point where it becomes funny. And some of the acting is really fun. Like, they know what movie they're in, and they're hilarious and great. And I enjoyed every scene in this film. I love every time like the moon just suddenly appears and people are like, oh my God, it's here. And gravity starts messing with the waves and the air and the snow. And this movie was a lot of fun. I'm sorry I didn't make a lot of money this weekend, so we're not going to get that trilogy, but that's all right. This movie can be standalone, and I will enjoy it when it comes out on video. I'm going to give it a 7.5. High praise.
7.5. All right. Well, I obviously was not as endeared to it for many reasons I've already said, and I would really like to add on that the character of Houseman, I think, is such a shit like movie. Like, he's just this like fabricated movie nerd that he's supposed to be this heartwarming character, and I never bought it.
He is the heart of this film.
He was actively annoying as a writing trope the entire time in this film. Like, I am so done with this type of character. Leave him in the 90s. He has no place here. I will give it a 4 out of 10.
Ew.
It is a bad movie. It's not the worst thing ever. It's definitely easier to watch because it is silly enough and it does, have effects and things and blah, blah, blah.
Beautiful effects. Every time the moon shows up, it's so fun.
But
it looks great.
Yeah, so that puts it better than stuff that I would rate lower. But it's not good. It doesn't even reach the middle. It's a 4 out of 10. That's Moonfall, everyone.
That's so cruel.
Yeah.
Why you gotta be so cruel?
Might have been a 5 without Houseman.
I don't understand. I honestly 100% don't understand that take. Like, I thought he was the most likable character in the whole film. He's great.
He's just such a cliche movie character to me. Like, he didn't feel real.
They're all cliche Roland Emmerich characters.
I know, but like,
he's the Jeff Goldblum. He's the man I hate that I'm right all the time guy.
But it came off to me as so fake that I can never buy it. Like, I feel like they were just trying so hard to make this guy likable, and it just wasn't working for me at all.
He's like a really likable guy.
No, terrible. So there you go. That's Moonfall, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed our thoughts.
Go see it. Go see it in the theaters.
No, don't.
You won't regret it.
No, you will regret. You'll definitely regret it.
It's so much fun.
It's yeah. So there you go. That's Moonfall. Let us know what you thought of the movie if you've seen it in the comments. Feel free to like, subscribe, ding the bell for notifications, all that stuff. Helps us out a lot if you do. I will take this time to thank our Patreon producers for the month. So thank you very much to Tyler Hess, Cindy Palacios, David Sharp, Board Now, Christopher Moy, David Brown, Al Treisman, and Alison M. Fordyce. They are our Patreon producers for the month. But you can, of course, support us for much less than that. Can't they, Tara?
That's right, Peter. If you enjoy our reviews, please check out our Patreon page. It's patreon.com/MildFuzzTV. And if you donate as little as $1 per month, you will get bonus episodes for the Ace. So you can check out what we think of films like The Trancers Saga, some David Carradine stuff like Future Zone and Future Force. I know you're all wondering where those are. Extra, Judge Dredd, Time Cop.
Tara still recommends like a couple of bonus episodes that were within the first 5 that we did like years ago now.
Oh man, they just kind of blur. Time is funny that way.
The last one we did was The Guyver. You should always promote the recent one.
Yes,
The Guyver.
The Guyver. We just did The Guyver. That was a blast. If you enjoy Power Ranger films, find yourself a copy of The Guyver. If you wanted Power Rangers but with more blood and like tentacles, The Guyver's for you. So check that out. Only $1. If you donate $5 per month, you'll get to vote on what we watch. We've got a vote upcoming, so check that out too. Thank you.
Yes. I'm also going to make Tara pose for the thumbnail, so this is I don't know. Either be the moon or be scared of the moon. I don't know. 3, 2, 1, pose.
You could be the moon. You could do like the Majora's Mask moon. Just your face, an angry face.
Dear. Well, there you go. The moon fell. So did my enthusiasm and spirit.
Not mine.
And will to live. All those things. They all fell. What would the sequel be called? Moonrise?
Ooh. I like it. It's gotta have... Moonfall 2 would be alright too.
Yeah, but it's not going to fall again. Or if it did...
I know, but I like numbers. Keep things consistent.
Okay. Alright. I was trying to be cute with it, but... Alright. There you go. I suppose that's about everything. Is there anything I've not done in terms of promotion? I don't think so.
You get to tell them what's coming up next, but I think they already know.
They do, because AVP, which was going to be before this, has already been recorded. It will be next. So look forward to AVP. And then we'll get into something else the week after that. So thank you very much for joining us. We always appreciate it. Keep watching science fiction and computer. Add salsa.